everyone, welcome to Branded by Amazing. I am Mike McClary. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Amazing.com. This is episode number 19. We're going to be talking all about chatbots, their history, what they're currently doing, and their future in e-commerce. And to do that, we brought on a very special guest. Her name is Michelle Barnum-Smith. She's the founder and owner of EasyBot, one of the best chatbot platforms out there right now. So Michelle, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
No, same here. We've wanted to have you on for a while, so this is kind of perfect timing. And as we were chatting before, it's great timing for people to really learn more about chatbots if they're not doing it as well, probably because of the time of the year we're at, in October right now.
Yes, we are in prime, what I call like prime ranking season. Now is the time to rank for those keywords, even those like gifting keywords that maybe you don't think about any other time of year. This is the time to get those keywords on your listing and get some rebate campaigns rolling so that you can get positioned for those keywords and take advantage of all the volume that is going to get crazy here pretty quick.
So speaking of the current time, here we're in 2021, you have this like crazy awesome, chatbot software. I imagine though that you didn't, wake up one day and like when you're 18 or something and decide I wanted to be a SaaS company owner. What is your history like? How'd you get involved in chatbots?
Well, I was born at a young age. It's true. No, so yeah, like I had this whole life before entrepreneurship. Didn't we all? Don't we all? Like some of you are like living this life right now and you're trying to balance the day job with the dream job. Right. And for 12 years, I did high-tech digital marketing. So I worked for the giants in the industry. I built marketing campaigns with and for Microsoft, HP, Dell, Vodafone, China Telecom. I traveled the world literally, doing high-tech marketing. And along the way, of course, with high tech came kind of like the SaaS platform emergence in the early 2000s. And being a part of that as a marketer was like interesting. Of course, it's something interesting to observe as an employee. I would never have thought, 10, 15 years later, I'd be launching my own SaaS platform. That was something that, you saw the founders go through things and you'd have all this bootstrapping and all the capital required and all of this, angel investments and all these things. And you're like, that's something other people do.
Was this the first software tool you built in, or have you done other software tools as well?
No, this is EasyBot is the first like software tool that I personally, like me, I didn't build it. Like I'm a marketer, right? I'm the visionary, but I like have a development team and that we've built together. Prior to this is just leveraging software platforms such as ManyChat, which is the main software platform out there that EasyBot actually is built onto. And in developing, systems and tools and trainings for chat marketing.
So for our listeners out there, so chatbots like ManyChat, I know being in e-commerce, I know what that is. Can you describe a little bit like what chatbots are and when they really came into play?
Yeah. So, this is actually like really interesting timing because I was working for a company called Mozy in like, I can't even remember. It was like 2008, 2009. It was like during that like scary time in the market. And they were the first SaaS platform that I worked for. And they had a massive, and it was also the first B2C platform that I'd ever worked for. Everything before that was like B2B, like massive B2B or B2G, like public sector type marketing. And it was the first time I saw consumer marketing. And they had a massive customer support issue. Like they were like the guy that was over customer support was basically ended up hospitalized because he was like flying to India, flying to Philippines, flying to all these places to get like a customer support system built. And shortly after that, customer support AI emerged. And if anybody has ever been, tried to contact, like Comcast for your internet or some other company, the first line of defense is a chatbot. The first kind of, what's your issue? It sounds like you need to reset your router. You need to reset your password. Chatbots were really born out of the need to handle the frequently asked questions in the customer support world. And that was like the late 2000s, the end of the first decade of the 2000s. And then basically in 2017, Facebook opened up the API to Facebook Messenger, and Facebook Messenger, besides WeChat, Facebook Messenger has the largest chat user base in the entire world, basically like 4 or 5 billion users. And so when Facebook opened up the API Messenger, basically what that opened up was an opportunity for marketing chatbots. So before, all chatbots were customer support related. And then in 2017, all of a sudden we saw this emergence of marketing chatbots. So you could be scrolling through your news feed and see something about this upcoming webinar. And instead of being taken to like a landing page where you have to give your name and your email address, Messenger would pop open and it'd be this like unique one-on-one automated communication where you felt like it was a little gamified. It was a little, interesting. You didn't feel quite as like, I don't know. It just had a better engagement type of experience.
And so at that time, was that when ManyChat came into play at the exact same time?
That was ManyChat. Yes, exactly. So ManyChat was one of just like a handful of platforms that got approved for the Facebook Messenger API. At that point, it was Chatfuel, ManyChat, and my first chatbot that I ever saw was a ManyChat chatbot. That was early 2017, and I by this point I'd started my own digital marketing agency in 2012, and when I saw my first chatbot, I was like, as a marketer, I was like, this is the future. This is sick. This is awesome. Just from an engagement and experience standpoint, and I jumped on it. Like, I transitioned all my clients into using chatbots for their marketing. We were seeing like amazing, awesome results. And I actually put myself, I was already on Upwork, but I submitted the category for chatbots and ManyChat to Upwork so that other like freelancers, people who are searching for chatbots could find us.
So that didn't exist. So Upwork is a freelance platform. You can find people to do any kind of work, a lot of in the e-commerce world. And so chatbots didn't exist as a category even back then?
No. I went on there and I searched, and there were like 3 people. And so I SEO'd the heck out of myself. I got the keywords everywhere, and then submitted those categories to Upwork. So all you chatbot freelancers out there, you're welcome.
That's great. So this is all happening around 2017, 2018. Chatbots come to play.
No, this is all 2017, and that's how I first got my first Amazon client. And she's pretty well known in the industry, Michelle Venton. She's brilliant. She's the brand that I helped with she's now exited from and started a new brand. So it's been fun to see it go full circle.
Yeah, I think I saw she exited for millions of dollars. It was actually in one of the big UK newspapers, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, she did very well for herself.
That's awesome. So you helped her. That's a great, kind of case study to show exactly the power of chatbots.
I don't take credit, but obviously she's the visionary behind all of that. But she really introduced me to the space, because before that, and I think a lot of consumers are like this, you're buying something on Amazon, you just think you're buying something from Amazon, right? You have no idea about the behind the scenes, that all of these are individual sellers, and it's all these small businesses, right? And so once I understood that, then I quickly kind of grasped that most Amazon sellers really cared about launching new products and really getting their products out there quickly, re-ranking existing listings that were struggling, and pushing the reviews. Those are all kind of like the 3 core levers that I could help with, with pushing things on Amazon. And very quickly, Michelle introduced me to all her friends. Leron Hirschkorn was one of my first clients as well. And he introduced me to all his friends. And so it became one of those things where I very quickly evolved into, you need chatbot and Michelle. It was like this synonymous thing.
I think you're referred to as the chatbot queen now. Is that what the term is, I believe?
All my UK friends, they throned me or whatever it is. They crowned me the queen of chatbots in late 2018, and it's just kind of stuck.
So what were the first campaigns you did for Michelle then? The very first ones, you remember what those were?
Oh yeah. So that was back in the day. Guys, things have changed. Things change wildly all the time, right? The technology changes, Amazon strategies change, just what it was. And so we did a lot around list building and acquiring an audience for her to launch her products to, and as well as using the list. This is a great story. Let me preface this. This is a great story. She would use her list when she would go to China and take a picture of something and say yes or no. She kind of have her own like little
like a focus group.
Yeah, her own little focus group. And one time she was launching, this is the difference between UK English and US English. Okay. So her brand was launching a stuffed unicorn. Okay. Little unicorn toy. And she was, sorry. She was saying, okay, here's the keyword, Michelle, we need to get this out there, blah, blah, blah. And the keyword was unicorn teddy. And I was like, no, that does not mean what that means in the UK, what it means in the US. No, lingerie versus a toy, if we're being straight. So we put it out to her list and we just sent out the item to everybody. And I think this was like almost pre-Helium 10 and keyword research, but we just put it out there and say, hey, what would you call this thing? What would you type into the search bar to find this thing? And, her US audience responded and her UK audience responded. And then we went with like the top 5 of each, for the ranking campaign. So that's like just one example of how we used and developed her audience. That was like one of the big cool things that we're able to do. And that I still recommend that people do is that you don't just acquire an audience and use them once and be like one and done with them. Like there's so much that you can do when you develop a relationship with your audience and they become responsive to you and they're excited about providing you feedback, responding to your offers, basically jumping when you say jump, right? And by the end, we had over 40,000 people on the list. That's not necessary to be successful, guys. That's very overkill. We'll say at this point, these are 2017, 2018, but like now you can get away with like, less than 1,000 and make a huge impact on your brand. But like by the end there, we had a very, responsive list that was just doing what we wanted when we wanted them to do it.
That's awesome, because I'm familiar with people using it to launch and rank products and get reviews, but the kind of focus group polling feature, I had not heard that story before, and that's another interesting feature of chatbots that I hadn't even thought of before. So that's really cool to hear. Now, tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, about what's changed between when you started back in 2017 between right now with chatbots.
Oh man, so much. It's so Facebook is a drug dealer. Do you guys know this? That they're a drug dealer? Are you aware? You know how drug dealers work is that they not that I have personal experience with this, guys, but how Facebook works as a drug dealer is they get you to use something, they give it to you for free, and they get you hooked on it. And then they switch things around and they start charging you for it. Yeah. So essentially that was like one of the first changes that happened is that 2017 to 2019 was just this free for all. You could build a list for super cheap, Facebook ads, messenger ads were super cheap. And you could also, here's the biggest thing is you could send promotional content and messages to your list anytime, any reason. There's no engagement windows. There's no 24-hour windows. There's no tags and topics and OTNs and all these rules that are in place now. All of that shifted in 2020. And Facebook started saying, hey, if you want to send promotional content, you can send it for free if somebody's engaged with you within 24 hours, or you can pay to send a paid message. And that freaked a lot of people out. The reality was it's not a big deal. Like, that's just how it works, right? It's the same way with like your Facebook business page or even your Instagram page. It's the same thing. Is it used to be that you could post on your page and anybody who's a follower or a fan would get the content, right? Get that organic post. But Facebook monetizing the way that they monetize, oh, well, that's cute. We'll send that out to like 5 of your followers. It'll make you feel real good, real warm and fuzzy, But for those people who have recent engagement, we know that you're relevant, and then we'll give you that free traffic. You want to reach your whole audience, you want to reach your whole list, you got to pay for it. You got to put up.
You and everyone probably saw that coming. Facebook wasn't going to let it be a wild free for all forever. They want to get you hooked.
And there were going to be rules. There was a lot of abuse that was going on. And because Facebook had these rules of like, hey, don't send promotional content willy-nilly. And now they just took the steps to enforce it. So that was like early 2020. And there was a lot of, shakeup, but Amazon sellers are resilient. Like you guys got to understand, ManyChat is to chatbots what like MailChimp is to email. Like, it's for any type of business can use it. Car dealerships are using it. Hair salons are using it. All these businesses can use the platform, right? But Amazon sellers are used to abuse. They're used to the rug getting ripped out from underneath them, things changing overnight and being like, what's going on, right? And so while the car dealerships and all these things, and this continues to be the case as the technology has evolved. But as technology has changed, other businesses flail about, but Amazon sellers can continue to adapt and be like, I know this still works. I just got to put my head down and keep pushing forward. And so I cheer the Amazon sellers for not doing the
whole doom and gloom. The world is ending because Facebook.
Right. There's always that message that lingers out there, but it's just like, all right, you good? Let's move forward.
Let me ask about those 2 things you mentioned there. So you used to be able to message, like I said, promotional anytime you wanted, and now it's someone has to have recently engaged with you. What's the time frame for that?
They call it the 24-hour engagement window. But the reality is that like with EasyBot is my chatbot platform for Amazon sellers. It sits on top of ManyChat, makes chatbot setup and management and campaigns, all that stuff easy. And we build out the templates, the ManyChat templates that get installed into your campaigns. And so anytime, and we understand the technology very, very well. I mean, my CTO is who ManyChat comes to when they want something built for their chatbots. So I feel pretty good that we're well positioned. But anytime somebody's outside the 24-hour engagement window, let's say if we're sending a notification that a rebate is being sent, ManyChat has can send email and SMS along with messenger messages. And so we just send those if they're outside the 24-hour engagement window, which most of them are going to be. If they've ordered, it's going to take a couple days before the order has shipped. And that's usually when the rebate is sent, right? And so then the rebate notification gets sent out via SMS and email.
Okay, so there's this 24-hour window that if someone's engaged with you via chatbot, the messenger chat, whatever, chatbot or whatever, you can send whatever you want to them. If not, then another alternative you're saying is that you try to capture their phone number for texting or their email for emailing, and that's kind of the way to get around that.
And that's what we require as part of our process. We're capturing their email, their SMS information, as well as validating each. We're like testing it and being like, okay, we sent you a PIN code. What was that? That's also a little fraud prevention measure that we have built into it. But the main reason being is that we want to notify you post we want to notify you that your rebate's being sent. So the people are motivated to give us their phone number, well, yeah, I want to know when you're sending me money.
Now you mentioned OTNs as well. For people who don't know chatbots, what's an OTN?
OTN is called a one-time notification topic. It was basically a bone that Facebook threw business owners when they closed the window of free for all promotional content anytime, anywhere. Along with the 24-hour engagement window, they released OTNs, which basically said, hey, if somebody wants to opt in, for like a one-time free promotional notification. Let's say that they're on your website, they want to buy a pair of shoes, but those shoes are out of stock, right? You can, serve them an OTN, basically says, hey, click this if you want to get notified when these shoes are back in stock, right? So if they click that, then the OTN, the topic is associated with their account. And so when you have the shoes back in stock, you can send a message, a free promotional messenger message out to everybody. The topics got a little fuzzy, honestly, with what Facebook was like okay with people doing and not okay. And once again, my CTO was talking to Facebook Messenger's product manager and gave him a whole list of like, what about this? What about this? What about, these scenarios? And they were all just kind of like, we don't know. We're like, ah.
So they're very like Amazon, aren't they? Where if you ask them a specific question, they don't want to give you the details. They want you to have this broad policy instead that they can apply.
Or a highly narrow policy that nobody knows about or understands, right? They just don't want to be held up against a wall and say, well, you said. So honestly, Mike, we've removed all OTNs from our flows because something else crazy that happened end of last year, along with all the other mess that poor Amazon sellers were dealing with in 2020 and continue to deal with in 2021, was the presidential election at the end of 2020, which Facebook was going crazy in shutting Facebook pages down. Like their AI system for objectionable content was set to crazy ultra sensitive, and just Facebook pages were going down right and left. People, had built up these brand pages with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and then just like evaporated. And it was really like, hold the phone, what's going on? And some of the things that were being said were like messenger tag violations, OTN violations. And so our team and ManyChat, we're all combing through all the data. And honestly, guys, this is not like important to you for this point in your lives. If anybody's listening, all of this is mostly resolved. But at the time, it was like our hair's on fire. The best resolution is just to what we identified as the OTNs being the problem. One of the main issues, and sending promotional content when you're not allowed to send promotional content. People were abusing tags. So what that taught me, what 2020 really taught me, is that, because prior to this, I was like teaching people how to use ManyChat, right? That was kind of like what I was known for. I had a whole course, I had templates, and then would teach people how to update templates. And it was getting so complex, and the rules were getting so gray area that I felt like I was putting people in danger. I was putting their businesses in danger. And I was like, what am I doing? And not with Amazon, but with like Facebook and all that other drama. And I was like, something's got to change. Either I got to get out of this, or I got to do something to make this easier, right? And a system where I can control everything. Maybe I'm a control freak, but that was really kind of the birth of EasyBot, because I was like, Amazon sellers have too much on their plate. They can't learn one more thing, or manage one more thing, or be told like, hey, go in here and go update this tag, and then go over here and name this custom field. Oh, and by the way, if you don't do everything exactly how I'm telling you, not only will your campaign fail, but you're in danger of losing your Facebook page and making a bunch of people mad. Like I just didn't want that risk on their plate. You know what I mean? So I was like, what can I do to make this more accessible, and just like, because you're still seeing crazy results, you're still seeing amazing ranking happening from campaigns and people getting amazing results on their product launches. So that was still working, but the actual creation and setup of those campaigns was either just hire somebody and it's super expensive, or like give up.
I've seen those ManyChat flows. Matt Clark and I talk about all the time since chatbots came out. Those, if anyone who's listening to the podcast now, if you've ever seen a ManyChat flow, it looks like an incredibly complex, engineering design. Lines everywhere, boxes everywhere, images everywhere, rules, logic everywhere. It can be pretty overwhelming.
Right, exactly. It used to be that it wasn't like that, right? And as we've gotten into the world of rebate automation, there are things included with that, like order verification and basically API calls, meaning, hey, my system needs to talk to Amazon's system, and this system needs to talk to PayPal or whatever system we're using for rebate automation. No Amazon seller can like do that on their own, right? Nor should you. It's very complex. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so that's, I mean, really that's where EasyBot was born. And I guess the motivation came from to make something that was more accessible for Amazon sellers to still be able to use chatbots, still be able to like get the crazy results but not at that level of pain that it previously was.
Gotcha.
There was enough pain. There was enough pain in 2020. Let's move forward.
So you had mentioned that chatbots are still being used for ranking or launching new products, re-ranking existing products, still getting reviews as well. Those kind of the three main things. These chatbots are now connected no longer by themselves. They're connected to the Amazon account, maybe some kind of payment system, to Facebook. Can be pretty complex. What else, though? What do you see the future of chatbots going now? This is where we're at today. Is there anything you see changing or kind of launching that gives people more capabilities in the future with chatbots?
Yeah, I think the thing with, chatbots are just a tool. You can massage that tool to do whatever it is you want. And I think what I see changing is the traffic side of things. With the iOS, with the Apple changes, maybe you guys see this on your phone when you open an app and it says, allow app to track. And everybody says, no, except the weird 6% of marketers who say, hey, yeah, I want to see what happens. Everybody else is like, no. And now Apple has just like a toggle switch in their settings under privacy that you can just like shut off all app tracking. So with that, has really disrupted the traffic side of things, Facebook ads, those kinds of things. And we can also see this with Amazon really favoring external traffic. Amazon's like, hey guys, use our attribution links and we'll pay you money back if you're driving traffic to us, right? And so we're seeing a lot of rewards from Amazon for driving traffic that appears to be coming from a multitude of traffic sources. One of the biggest right now is Google, and making traffic, either just creating ads and driving that traffic directly through those Google ads, or making it appear that the traffic is coming through Google ads. And that's something that we've been focusing on is having basically what we call a Google middleman link that takes traffic from wherever you're originating. So Facebook ads as an example, Instagram. You can use it with an email list, a Facebook group, launch audience, anywhere. But as long as you drive traffic through this link via your keywords, and the link is loaded with keywords in your ASIN, Mike, it is crazy. The kind of statistics that we're seeing right now are just like, it's just insane. I mean, like just earlier this week, I was looking at we have an agency side to EasyBot, and that's where we experiment on our customers and try different strategies and massage things before I announce them publicly and feed them to the masses. But essentially what we're seeing with a keyword, we had 5 keywords with a combined search volume of over 130,000 monthly searches,
which is high, right? That's
very high. One was just the bulk of it, was like 100,000. The rest were the 30,000. We were giving away less than 5 rebates per keyword per day, and we ranked from nowhere. This listing was dead to position 1 in 3 days.
Wow. That's
at less than
crazy.
5 rebates per day. Typically in times past, that would have been like 50 rebates per day for like 14 days. And then you would eventually get there. You know what I mean? And so the kind of, and guys, if you're listening to this in 5 years, this will likely have changed, right? Amazon's always changing. We pivot. That's the name of the game. But right now it's just insane.
So right now, Amazon's paying people to send traffic. Like it's somewhere 10 to 15%. They pay you back every conversion, right? And they're also rewarding you with incredibly high ranking when that happens. That's pretty awesome. Like you said, like I've talked to some other people too, and like you're not the first who've talked about that, but it seems like we don't seem this is going to be happening forever. So if anyone, wants to really start ranking, external traffic is really being highly rewarded and probably something to take advantage of now.
And especially right now, especially for the holiday season, this is the time to do it. Like I said, kind of at the top of the hour, like I don't care if you don't usually rank for gifting keywords the rest of the year. This might be the time of year that you do so. Add some to your listing and then run a rebate campaign for those gift keywords. Like do it right now. It's not going to take much inventory. I know a lot of you have inventory sitting in LA harbor or somewhere else, and this is really exciting to me because I'm all about, I never want people to have to sacrifice so much of their inventory for a launch or for a re-ranking campaign. Inventory is precious, right? And now more than ever, I thought we saw like the bulk of the inventory drama in 2020. And here we are. But yeah, so now is the time to take advantage of and to run these campaigns, especially when you can do so cheaply. I tell people start at 5 sales per day per keyword, 5 rebates per day per keyword. And then after 48 hours, if you're not seeing the ranking jump that you're looking for, then just increase it in increments of 5 units per keyword.
That's awesome. Yeah, it used to be you have to wait, full 7, 10, 14 days before you could actually see that kind of movement at all.
Right, exactly. And that's what's just, it's never boring, this world that we live in, right, Mike?
Well, Michelle, that is awesome. Thanks for covering the history of the chatbots, your kind of genesis into this business, what's working today, what you also see coming down the pipe. Probably we're seeing right now, maybe for a short amount of time, that's going to continue happening. Love to have you on again sometime in the future to see what the next big change is that's happening.
The next big thing, right? And take advantage of. Do it now. I mean, guys, there's a lot of theory out there, and then there's the actionable content. This is the actionable content. Like if you don't take action for the holiday season, check out your listings, do a reverse ASIN lookup on your keywords, see where you're falling off page 1 for those keywords and run a rebate campaign for those keywords. Like that is what's going to make the biggest difference in your, in your Q4 performance. That is it. If you're not on page 1, people are not going to find you. They're going to be like buying whatever is available because everything's going to be sitting in a harbor somewhere instead of under the Christmas tree. So you have a significant opportunity. If you have inventory, let's get on page 1.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michelle. I will be seeing you shortly at a few events coming up. I always look forward to that. I hope you have a great holiday season for you and your clients as well. If people want to get a hold of you and learn more about chatbots or EasyBot, how can they do that?
Yeah, just go to easybot.com. That's spelled just like the word easy, EASYBOT.com. And you can't miss me. I'm all over it.
Awesome. Thanks so much again. Again, this is Mike McClary with Branded by Amazing. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Branded.